This Unagi Model One was given to me by the Marsman himself. Not Elon, but Tom Sachs. Tom is a sculptor, also based in New York City. Tom is a cool dude. Tom USB-C modded this boosted remote for me, and separately I wear tested his Nike Craft Mars Yard 2.5s. That was fun. This footage with Tom was not planned. We ran into each other serendipitously while filming this review. Tom, thank you again for the scooter. Unagi is a company that actually got its start as a Chinese rebrand turned successful Kickstarter campaign, so this may be your first time hearing of them. Tom gave me a sparkly blue dual motor version, meaning there's a 250 watt hub motor in each wheel. For comparison, Boosted uses dual 1000 watt belt drive motors, and Evolve uses two 1500 watt belt driven motors. And while the Unagi isn't nearly as powerful as either of these electric longboards, I don't think that's why this thing exists. Scooters have a much lower barrier to entry than something like a skateboard, according to my super scientific Twitter poll I conducted, but I think it's actually true. After a few weeks of zipping around on this Unagi, it feels like a well-built machine, meant to get you from points A to B in style. And while I don't love the form factor of a scooter because your hands are both constantly occupied, I can definitely say this is a great looking rideable. It maintains a sleek profile throughout the handlebars, tube, and deck, and the scooter is made up of aluminum and carbon fiber. There's an embedded display in the handlebars that has good visibility in sunlight and shows you pertinent information like your riding mode, battery, and current speed. The accelerator is the throttle on the right, and the throttle on the left is the electronic brake. The arch back there is a foot brake, but I much prefer the electronic brake because it's smoother and feels more reliable. And I like that the electronic brake stops both wheels. Braking is very good on this scooter. What's cool is you can ride the Unagi in either single motor rear wheel drive or in dual motor mode where both wheels spin. Double pressing the power button turns dual motor on or off. You'll see that wheel icon when it's turned on. It's surprisingly torquey in dual motor mode, and I kept the scooter in the fastest mode, mode 3, when riding around. The Unagi Model One is virtually silent and is IP54 water resistant. I personally rode this in the rain a few times, but it's definitely risky for obvious reasons. There's a tiny built-in kickstand here that tucks away nicely into the deck. The deck material is this rubbery plastic that gets noticeably dirty. It's easy to clean, but the ridges here will absolutely destroy paper towels, so just keep that in mind. Unagi's folding mechanism here is genius. It's this spring-loaded hinge that's easy enough to do with one hand if needed, and can be done in like 2 seconds with both. It's really good. The Model One weighs about 27 pounds or 12 kilograms, and I like that the turning vector gets locked when it's folded, meaning carrying this thing isn't that big of a pain. Unagi included a horn with the Model One, but it's this annoying beep. I prefer to just use my whistle. Unagi also included an embedded headlight and taillight, which is always great. It helps with visibility at night, obviously, and that rear brake flashes when you apply the electronic brake to indicate to others that you're slowing down. I like that. I also like that the Unagi ships with these reflective stickers on the scooter, but sadly, they don't really do much reflecting. Unagi designs and develops its own unique airless tires that they say shouldn't be taken off curbs higher than like an inch, but of course, I tested the limits, and you definitely should avoid bunny hopping the Model One. I cracked one of the little tire spokes, I guess you can call it, in my testing, so be wary of bumps and cracks. And even though you may think that those tires would help with suspension, they really don't. You feel everything. I rode the Unagi all around Manhattan for fun for this review and to actually run errands. And while the acceleration is great for a sleek scooter like this, I couldn't help but feel like I wanted to go faster. Top speed on the Model One is 17 miles an hour or 27 kilometers per hour. There's a secret input that you can do that unlocks 2 more miles an hour. If you hold down both throttles while the scooter is on and press the center button 10 times, you'll hear 2 beeps, but there's no visual indicator on the screen. Tom told me about this little trick when he gave me the scooter, and I looked it up, and sure enough, this is a thing. I kept the scooter with both motors on as well as in the secret mode, and I got around 9 miles of range riding through New York City. Unagi advertises 15 miles, and you can absolutely get that if you don't ride like me with the throttle pinned and in the fastest mode. When the scooter is all but out of juice, you'll see a red battery indicator, feel the decreased performance, and hear a sequence of 3 beeps from time to time. The charger that comes in the box is small and slow. Over 4 hours for a full charge using this USB-A-like tip that plugs into the side of the deck. And that rubber cover ripped off at some point, but luckily it sticks back in there pretty well. There's weirdly no app for the Unagi One. Personally, I use Strava to track my rides. There's an important safety feature that I haven't mentioned yet, and I think it's a great thing to see. The Unagi needs to be moving for the throttle to work, meaning you can't accidentally hit the throttle while stationary and send the scooter and possibly you flying. You need to kick push and then the throttle will work. Here's what I'll say. For right under $1,000, the dual motor Unagi Model One will probably treat you right. Just understand what you're buying and how you're going to use it. It's not super fast and the range isn't crazy good, and this is a me thing, but I think scooters are pretty dorky. However, like I said in the beginning of this review, I think most people can hop on this and easily ride away without having to really learn. It's intuitive, whereas something like a skateboard is usually way more difficult for beginners. It's hard for me to confidently tell you to go spend the money on this solely because it's a bit expensive given the specs. Don't get me wrong, considering how sleek the Unagi is, if it went like 22 miles an hour and came with a fast charger, I'd probably say it's worth the money. If you're watching this and you already have an Unagi, I would love to hear what you think of yours. And if you're new around here and are in the majority that aren't yet subscribed but watch my videos, my name is Sam Sheffer and I review fun electric rideables like this. You should click around on my channel and watch another video while you're here. And as always, thank you for watching.